Do you have belly fat, of which 1 in 2 adults do? Or PCOS? Or family history of diabetes? Did someone in your family line die living with diabetes or is currently living with diabetes? Or are you in your menopause? Have you stopped seeing your period? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then you should sit tight and learn how you can prevent diabetes, because you are predisposed to having diabetes. Hello, you're welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer, I'm glad to have you back. If you're just watching me for the first time, you're equally welcome. Please do well to subscribe. So my name is Amara Okereke. I call myself the mom scientist. I'm a biomedical scientist and a mom of 5 kids. Alright, so let's dive right into what we have today. On this episode, I'll be sharing some tests you can do to prevent diabetes, and one of those tests can pick your chances of having diabetes 15 to 20 years before you eventually do. If you know today that you could have diabetes 15 or 20 years from now, why wouldn't you do something to prevent having it? First of all, let's bring something into perspective. Your body tries to regulate everything within it because your body is very intelligent. It tries to make sure that everything within it is at normal level to function optimally. That's why you sweat when the weather is very hot, so that when breeze touches your skin, it will help to cool down your body. And you shiver when the weather is very cold. Your muscles contract and relax to generate heat. So the same way, when you eat, your body tries to move glucose or blood sugar from your bloodstream into the muscles, and where the muscle uses this sugar to function. So let's dive right into the test. Fasting blood sugar level is the #1 test, and it's quite common. You must have done it or heard about it. It's the most common routine test done to evaluate blood sugar level or blood glucose level. This test is usually done in the morning after you've slept for long hours at night and fasted for long hours, 8 to 12 hours. Alright, so and the essence of this test is that it is expected that during that long hours of fast that your body would utilize glucose in blood and bring it down to baseline level. So when this fasting blood glucose is evaluated, if you have blood glucose level of 70 to 100 milligram per dl, you are said to be normal, you are said to be okay. But if your blood glucose level is between 100 milligram per dl to 125 milligram per dl, you are said to be pre-diabetic, while if you have anything more than 125 milligram per dl, you are diabetic. Alright, and this test is not very complete in that it has been found that people with fasting blood glucose level greater than 85 milligram per dl, even when it's below 100 milligram per dl, had increased chances of having heart disease, according to a study done some years back. This study surveyed about 2,000 men and found out that men who had fasting blood glucose level more than 85 milligram per dl, some of them died of heart disease. So the goal should be to bring your blood glucose level to anything between 70 and 85 milligram per dl. Another test you can do to pick if you could have diabetes in the future is oral glucose tolerance test, and this is usually done for pregnant women who to assess if they have gestational diabetes. This test can equally be used to screen for diabetes, to check if a person have diabetes, done in phases. First of all, your baseline sample will be collected, just like in fasting blood sugar. Your baseline sample will be collected. After that, you'll be given a glucose meal. Some now will collect your samples every 30 minutes, while some will collect your samples every 1 hour after you've been given glucose drink to take. Your sample will be collected either after every 30 minutes or after every 1 hour. Some will collect just 2 samples, your baseline sample and 2 hours after you've been given a glucose meal. The sample will be collected. And in this test, if you have if your blood glucose level after 2 hours after glucose meal is less than 140 milligram per dl, then you are okay, you're fine. But if it is between 140 milligram per dl and 199 milligram per dl, you are said to be pre-diabetic. You're said to have impaired glucose tolerance, right? And this impaired glucose tolerance means that your body is unable to metabolize glucose properly. While if the 2 hours glucose level is more than 200 milligram per dl, you are said to be diabetic. That is for oral glucose tolerance test. But there is a test that is more dependable and can pick your chances of having diabetes 15 to 20 years before you eventually do. And this test is better than the ones I just mentioned: fasting blood sugar, oral glucose tolerance test. It is much better than them, and it is called fasting insulin levels, which I refer to as the gold standard. Insulin is secreted by the pancreas to move glucose from your blood into the tissue. But when your body tissues are not responding to insulin the way they ought to respond to insulin, the condition is known as insulin resistance. When your body tissues are not responding to insulin the way they ought to respond to insulin, there will be a stimulus for more insulin to be released, and this continuous release of insulin will cause a rise in blood insulin level. So when you do a fasting insulin, it could help pick out if you have insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is a big pointer. If you find out in time that you have insulin resistance, you can reverse it before you get to pre-diabetes and then diabetes. So that's the essence of this test. And you can have insulin resistance 15 to 20 years before you eventually have pre-diabetes or diabetes. So finding out in time that you have insulin resistance will help you to adjust both your diet and your lifestyle to prevent having diabetes. If you're interested in learning what you could do if you have insulin resistance to reverse insulin resistance, then you should watch my video on insulin resistance. I'll put the link in the description. Hope you got value from this, and if you do, please subscribe and share with your friends. Alright, catch you here.